Hi, y'alls. My name is BB. I'm the host of BB Speaks. Today's topic is daily bumps on child exploitation on YouTube. Families who vlog for the sake of views, popularity, criticism, oversharing, monetization, all while exploiting their kids for the views. Daily bumps. That's the cutest picture they ever got. That's pretty good. That was in their second house. First, they lived in a converted garage apartment or basement apartment, one room, and then in their parents' house, and then they lived in a rental house with some other family friends, and then they lived in this house, which was a really nice house. They had a pool, they had a backyard, they had enough space for outside play, they had grass, they had, I think, either 3 or 4 bedrooms. They had tile flooring, which is a common thing in California. They also had carpeting, they had a big kitchen. I don't know why they decided to move. Maybe their lease was up, maybe it wasn't. But they decided to get a mortgage on a 2-acre house that was built after the millennium. Looks really ugly. Somewhere in Murrieta, California. And they... See, this house they lived in, their first official house was great. They could have moved into a similar style house or a similar looking house or stayed in a residential area. But you know what? When they moved into, that far off area where the nearest anything is like a 15-20 minute drive to get anywhere, to get anything, they socially isolated themselves. And, not like they were living in the boonies, but they were basically too far away to socialize with friends. They were too far away to have play dates with anyone else. They had birthday parties for their kid. But it's just like, they didn't put in the effort to socialize after they moved out of this house. They still socialized, they still had friends when they lived in their modest Murrieta home. But then they moved into that big house, and everything became about living in the house and socializing in the house and not going anywhere and always staying home. They became homebodies to the extreme. They thought their fame was too much to handle, so they just decided, we're gonna stay in our comforts of our home, remodel our swimming pool 3 times, add a gazebo and an outdoor pergola and an outdoor kitchen 2 times over. We're going to remodel our main kitchen inside the house. We're going to repaint the bedrooms a few times. We're going to get different beds for our kids over and over and over again. They're just kind of money hungry. They want to use their YouTube money for the remodels, but they don't want to use their money to, like, meet people, make friends, socialize, have playdates for their kids, let their kids have playdates. And in many vlogs, they have stated, the only friends our kids need are each other. To every parent who says that in the world, I want to punch you in the face and throw you off a bridge. Your kids need to socialize beyond their siblings. Let me tell you the difference. Right now, the difference is that Ollie is 6.5. He's almost 7 years old. And the only socialization he gets is with his brother, Finn, who is 4.5. And Finn has the language skills of maybe like a 20-month-old. And Ollie has more than age-appropriate conversational skills, language skills, communication, pronouncing words correctly. He's got a few baby teeth falling out already. His language skills are up to par. But he's socializing with his 4.5-year-old brother who has the language skills of, again, a 1.5-year-old. Why? Because this family does not do anything to get their kids to interact with the world outside of their home. They do not take their kids to playgrounds. They do not take their kids to after school activities or enrichment activities or extracurriculars or gymnastics or tumbling or anything. They attempted to put Finn in karate or taekwondo or one of those they're commonly referred to as Mick dojos. A Mick dojo is one of those karate chain dojos, like a fast food chain of martial arts schools where they're basically here, have a taste of basic martial arts with no actual style, no flavor, no true inspiration. It's just punching and blocks and kicks and form and sequences of different movements, but we're not following a specific Japanese path or Korean path or a Chinese style. We're just kind of generic. And they did that for Finn for like 4 or 5 classes, and it was before Corona happened, so they don't have the excuse of Corona happened, so the dojo closed. No, they tried it, and then they stopped taking him. Maybe Brian got deluded again. Oh, my kids are so famous that everybody recognizes them off of YouTube. And they're too famous for karate. I don't know. I stated in my previous video in part 2 that Brian always said when Ollie was 2 and 3 years old, we're too famous for going to playgrounds. No, all the kids at the playground and at his preschool wanted his autograph. What? Why would 2-year-olds... What? That doesn't make sense. You can give an autograph book to a 2-year-old when you go to Disneyland, but is your 2-year-old going to remember what it's for? No. So, why would 2-year-olds at the playground suddenly decide, I don't want to play with you, I just want your autograph? See, that doesn't work. That doesn't make sense. And you didn't really teach Ollie to write his name at all until he was in school. And even then, your attempts at putting your kid in school have been horrendous. So, Ollie has a July birthday, and I guess, they held him back so much from doing preschool and pre-K at a Christian preschool, as I stated in my last video, that what they did was they kept on getting him late to school, picking him up extra early from school, signing him up for 3 full days a week, but still getting him there late, getting there to pick him up early, and picking him up in the middle of the day, during nap time, taking the camera into the preschool space with them, and vlogging themselves waking up other kids to wake up Ollie to say, we're gonna go to Starbucks. Come on, let's go. Literally. And then there were other days that they didn't want to take him to preschool, so they would call their grandparents, Mimi and Papa, Missy's parents, to come to their house and pick up Ollie and take him to preschool. And to pick him up from preschool, because they couldn't be bothered with their jobless, no schedule lives to be responsible parents and let their kids socialize and have fun and learn how to do things. You know that the grandparents toilet trained Ollie. Missy and Brian did not toilet train. They did not toilet train or show bathroom independence to Ollie. They went on a vacation to Hawaii or London or something, left the kids at home with the grandparents, and the grandparents toilet trained Ollie over the course of a week. I mean, I get that. Sometimes it happens in people's family dynamics, but that was just kind of shitty. And then they did the same thing again for the youngest, Finn. The grandparents potty trained, toilet trained, bathroom trained Finn. Oh, look, I'm approaching 9 minutes, 10 minutes almost. So I'm still going. This is part 3. I guess I'll have to do a part 4. But yeah, this is what they do. They don't want their kids to socialize or grow. And then so Ollie, they held him back so much by all those missed days and late days and early pickups that eventually I guess the preschool told them, No more vlogging in our preschool. Leave the camera at home and stop picking up your kid in the middle of nap. And they actually complain about that on their vlog. At that point, I was like, fuck you. You guys suck. That's horrible parenting, and you're blaming the preschool for why you can't vlog? No! It's like a doctor's office. You wouldn't violate HIPAA. Actually, you know what? That's one thing that this family doesn't do, unlike other vlogging families. Missy and Brian don't take the camera into doctor appointments with them very often. And even when their kids get, bloody lips and weird bruises and scratches and scrapes from, running around their 2-acre property and getting scraped up and whatnot, and then they end up in urgent care or the ER, they mention it. They show maybe one photo or two, or maybe 20 seconds of a video clip, and then they don't really show anything afterwards. So they kind of have stopped doing the, let's take the camera with the kid into the ER, into the doctor's appointment, into the vaccine, into the well checkup. They're not doing that anymore. So thank you, Brian and Missy, for no longer taking the camera with you to kids' doctor appointments. But still, you suck as parents. I don't have kids yet, but I ain't gonna do it the way you are. Hell no. So yeah. And that's still the cutest picture of Ollie ever. Because they're not, forcing him. I watched this video 3 times today, and I can't see any point where they're scripting their 2-year-old to, do things. 2-year-olds don't really do things if you force them to. They tend to do their own things anyway. And for a little while, at just shy of 2 years old, Ollie had a lot of language. And then around the time that Finn was born, I guess, that interruption of life, of a new baby in the life of a 2-year-old, he lost a lot of his language. He stopped speaking for a while. He stopped talking. But eventually he talked again towards 3.5, 4, and now he's almost 7, and he talks up a storm all the time. He's a bright kid. He's a soft kid. He's a smart kid. He's a sensitive kid, and I think that his parents are doing him a disservice by not letting him grow, not letting him have friends outside of home, not letting him have playdates, not letting him enjoy the comforts of society, not just the comforts of home. I mean, why do you need an ATV on, a Jeep Polaris on 2 acres of land? It's so dumb. So anyways, I'm just ranting on about Daily Bumps now, and they do a lot of scripting and staging of the kids. They did a Boss Baby series after the Boss Baby movie came out from Illumination and DreamWorks. And they tried to do Ollie and Finn as Boss Baby 1 and 2. They tried to make them into Minions a couple of times, and they tried to make them into different versions of Toy Story a lot. And now they're just kind of, I think they're taking a break from scripting and blocking and staging and focusing more on their own adult drama that's kind of boring to the kids. So yeah, wait for part 4. I'll be on that soon. Okay, I'm done. Adios.